Councillor Rivera, and I'm the Clerk of the House of Commons, and it is my privilege to assist in the ceremony whereby Mr. Lloyd, that's a first name. Mr. Lloyd will become an official member of the 43rd Parliament. He does this by taking an oath of allegiance and loyalty to the Sovereign. And this is a requirement under Section 128 of the Constitution Act of 1867. And once he's taken the oath, he has to sign the test roll. When members swear allegiance to the Sovereign, they're also swearing allegiance to the institutions and the values that the Queen represents, including the concept of democracy and the rule of law. Thus, members are making a pledge to conduct themselves in the best interest of the country. The oath reminds members of the serious obligations and the responsibilities that they are assuming. So, with that said,
See, there's two Bibles here.
yeah, well, this one I think is yours.
Okay. I, Dane Lloyd, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Congratulations,
Thank
you
you
now
so much.
belong to the 43rd Parliament. We have to worry about photographers.
Yes. So I've got Jagmeet Singh on here. This is the next one, the last one we did. Should I hold the pen
Yes,
there?
please. Thank you. And I'm just going to take a couple of just of yourself. Great smile. That wasn't funny. And just two more. Great smile again. Can I just fix your jacket, please? There, very good. Lining this up. Perfect. Now, if there's any other photos of family members that you'd like to do?
Sure. So starting off with we have a list.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Amanda?
Have a list.
I was going to say it myself,
Wow,
but I
that's a-
realized, nope, she's taking care of it.
So Dane and Rachel.
Sorry. Nice smile right here. And hold that for a sec. Oh, great smile. Thank you.
Oh wait, I just got a cough. Mom just.
Oh, sorry.
Lisa probably should get another photographer also.
We'll actually get both of Rachel's parents. You guys wanna? Do you guys wanna come up?
Just have to-
Yeah. Family shot.
Here, I'll hold your phone in my lap where it'll be safe. Great, you made it.
Awesome. Looking right here, please. Thank you.
Get up there. That's what I'm here for.
Well organized.
Yes.
Can I get you to your security badge off, please?
I got
Here, I
it
can
illegal?
take that part.
Don't lose it though.
Here, let me take that. I'll get. I'll get it.
Oh, I got thank you. Amanda.
Thanks, Chicken. Fix your ties.
Now what? No, that's fine. Center.
I'm the picky photographer.
It's all right. Probably voted Liberal.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Dane would also like one of his regimental colleagues if you guys wanna come up.
Better wear your nice ties.
Sorry, I don't mean that.
No, no,
Started
that's
in
fine,
front of
that's
us.
fine. Thank you.
Gentlemen, can I get some trees on this side, please? Keep going. Perfect. And gentlemen, have a step towards the table. There we go. Oh, check this thing. Everybody looking right here, please. Nice smiles. And one more. Excellent. Thank you.
And then also one with the Trinity Western LLC, the group that go with Dane first, and then we'll do the,
Anyone who's like LLC Trinity Western.
yeah, so there's Colin.
Colin, you start now because by the time everyone's up here, you'll make it up here.
LLC.
So Joel, I think Joel, you'd be there. Colin. Jalen.
Yeah, you're all.
Jeff, you went to Trinity.
David, you're not invited yet. David?
Did you go to Trinity, Daniel?
Yes. Okay.
So balance this out. A lot of dude action going up here.
It's not too far off the normal, is it?
So you stick your pass off.
I should actually sign this because I might forget to do that. All these photos are null and void now. You can never sign.
Awesome. Can I get you gentlemen coming a little forward? Because you're behind the podium now. So.
Yeah, and hide Colin's crutches.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he was gonna say right here, when I crutch. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Forward, slide yourself over, sir. Turn yourself just a little bit like that. Constantly slide yourself over. And slide yourself, slide.
We good?
You're good for me.
For one person anyways.
Alright.
I think it's good. And one more.
I'll do one more.
Yes, quick.
I was busy taking pictures.
Right, awesome. Gotta make sure we see everybody right here. Excellent. Thank you.
You're going off the stage now.
And then Josiah, why don't you just stay up there, because you and I can get off first.
Nominated, there's only like a couple left, so.
Yeah.
And you passed it.
Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me.
Okay, here we go. Everybody look right here. And one more. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone.
No, it's councillors.
Oh, yes, councillors, that's the one I missed. Yeah.
It's like the one we had 2 years ago.
Excellent. Looking good right here. Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, I think that's it for photos. Janet could come up for a moment.
No event is complete without a little speechifying, right? It's an honor to say a few words to congratulate Dane on his re-election. I first knew Dane as a student at the Laurentian Leadership Center. He was a student in the fall semester of 2011. Professors always know in a class which student they can count on to say certain things. I could always count on Dane for obscure dates in Canadian history. He was a history student, but one who's really a history geek. And I know this because I am also a history geek. He has an amazing memory and really knows Canadian history, particularly political and military history. I've watched Dane grow and develop into the role he has now. As a political staffer, he was mentored by Ed Fast and Michael Cooper. I was not surprised to see him join the Canadian Reserves given his interest in the military. But I have been surprised to see him manage to continue in the reserves while taking on the role of an MP. He has a large capacity for work. Dane has always had a commitment to issues of importance to Albertans. He's been very supportive of the oil and gas industry and of Alberta beef. He represents his constituents well. I've been pleased to see that Dane has not left his faith behind in all his success. He continues to hold fast to his Christian principles. So Dane, I'm proud of your accomplishments so far and look forward to seeing what lies ahead for you in the future. Congratulations.
Well, thank you all for coming today for my second swearing in as Member of Parliament for Sturgeon River-Parkland. And it has been a tremendous honor in fact, the highest honor of my life, to represent these communities over the past 2 years. And I look forward to representing these communities for many years to come. Just over a month ago, Canadians went to the polls to elect a new government. And as Conservatives, we didn't get the result that we were hoping for. But I am encouraged to know that I have a strong mandate from my constituents to stand up for their values. We fought so hard this past election, and now the real work begins here in Parliament. And I will be fighting for families who are struggling to get ahead in this tough economy. I'll be fighting for our energy industry and new emerging industries to ensure that we have prosperity in our regions. And I will fight for victims and their families by reintroducing McCann's Law to ensure that convicted killers who refuse to disclose the location of their victims' remains face consequences. Now, before I thank everyone today, I just want to mention this pin that I'm wearing. It's a medallion symbolizing Treaty 6, the treaty between First Nations in my constituency and the Crown. And I want to thank the people of Alexander and Enoch First Nations for their friendship and partnership in the past Parliament and in future Parliaments to come. Now, I have so many people to thank today, and first and foremost, I want to thank my wife, Rachel, for standing beside me all this way. I couldn't have done it without your love and support. And I want to also thank my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, Jenny and Craig Allen. Thank you so much for your support. I also want to thank my staff. They're not here today, but Jesse, Luke, and Christine, who are back in the constituency holding down the fort. Thank you for all that you've done, and thank you to Josiah and Amanda, who are joined with me here in Ottawa today. Thank you for all the hard work that you do for my constituents and I. I also want to thank a couple of my mentors, Dr. Janet F. Buckingham, who was just speaking previously, the director of the Laurentian Leadership Center of Trinity Western University here in Ottawa. Thank you so much for your mentorship. And also Lieutenant Colonel Vincent Quinnell of the Governor General's Foot Guards, the commanding officer, my regiment here in Ottawa, and all of the officers who have come today to show their support. Thank you so much. I also want to recognize councillors AnnLisa Jensen from Parkland County, as well as Wayne Bokenfohr from Sturgeon County, who are here with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. It's just great that 2 years ago you were able to attend my first swearing in, and we just managed to work it out so that you could be here for my second. So I really appreciate the partnership that we have between myself and our community so that we can forward our shared values. I'd also like to thank my new colleague and fellow Trinity Western alum, Member of Parliament Damien Currick. You know, he won with about 86% of the vote, and I think he's got the safest riding in Canada, so I've got a lot to catch up on next election, so I don't think I'll ever catch up to him. So thank you for coming, Damien. I'd also like to thank all my family and friends who came out here today, and those of you who are watching at home. There are too many of you for me to recognize all of you, but I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And finally, I want to thank my grandfather, Graham Hyde, for flying out from Edmonton yesterday so that he could share this special day with me. You've been at my side my entire life, and I'm so proud that you could share this day with me today. Now, after the ceremony, I want to invite you all to join me for a tour of West Block. We'll be checking out the floor of the House of Commons. And then after that, I'd like to invite you all to South Block Whiskey Bar, which is on the corner of Spark Street and O'Connor for a drink. It's right next to the Nate's restaurant, if you're aware of that. There's a reservation under Dane, Lloyd. Thank you all for being part of this very meaningful day ceremony today. God bless you all. Thank you. I feel like I'm in like the White House.